What is up, everybody, and today we have another video that is a request from a viewer, and this will be another video created based off of my own opinions and knowledge on the whole topic. Today we shall be discussing why ghosts and spirits are seen as they are and why they are captured on film with specific types of images. Now, I want to apologize before we really get into the topic for any outside noise that may come up through the audio. I am recording in my room and it is very hot today, so the windows will be open this time. And if there's any birds or construction in the background, I apologize for that. So today I'm just going to run through some of the reasons why I can explain some of this phenomenon, why exactly spirits have specific clothing on, why they are a certain age, really anything as to why they appear how they appear. So we're going to go through a few of these explanations and theories to settle some of those questions. Now, number one I have down as looped and residual energy, and for anyone in the paranormal field who knows about residual energy, it's basically what I said the first time. It is a loop, and if any of you guys have watched a Vine, basically it's a ghost Vine. It's where a spirit's energy is just constantly reliving a moment in time or doing a specific action over and over and over again. I'm not 100% sure if these spirits are considered sentient in a way like other spirits, because most of these times they don't really interact, they just do the same thing and you just kind of deal with it. Now, when this can be considered for how the spirit is seen, basically it's just whatever they were doing at the time or whatever they were doing in that specific location is most likely how they're going to be portraying themselves in the spirit realm. So their physical manifestation or apparitions forms will most likely connect to how they were originally seen at that moment in time. Now, number two I have written down as dying during a specific period or at a certain age in their life. When someone would die, most likely in a very tragic way, such as suicide or death by murder or maybe just by a very sudden accident, the spirit is most likely going to show up with that specific point in time. Again, similar to the loop, except for this time is when spirits usually are a bit more powerful compared to the residual energy side. Spirits and ghosts that have died through these types of causes are usually seen to some degree, and when they are, people wonder why they're dressed maybe in like colonial clothing, or why it's a little girl who has like a bloody bonnet or something. It's because that's how they died, or that's because that is the moment in time in which they just passed away, and that's the most recent memory they have of themselves. Which sort of relates into number three as being seen through the age they most relate with. And this can kind of be for spirits who are a bit more powerful. Through some of the research I have done, people such as mediums, most of the time mediums, have reported that spirits will sometimes show different ages of themselves through the psychic's sense. And this could be more related to more older spirits or people who have died throughout their life. Children most likely will only be seen as children because that is all they knew. However, if someone such as my age or maybe my parents or grandparents had died or passed away and we are powerful enough to change our manifestation or apparition forms, we could potentially come off as being younger or older than what we actually were. And some people, I'm not 100% sure on how many people believe this, but I personally do. I think this relates to them just showing who they are on the inside, such as an older person who passed away, showing they're more childish, or other people who were probably most happy during that specific time and that age in their life that they wish to forever be that age and not have to live throughout the parts that were not as fun. And this whole manipulation of their physical form or apparition form in film relates back into number four, which is other beings such as demons and more powerful spirits can also be known to change their appearance in order to hide themselves or to pretend to be something much more innocent. Now, there are many stories, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would understand this because if you watch a horror movie, this is the case. Demons and, I guess, malevolent spirits, they'll play off of people who are a bit more naive and not as experienced in the field, Even people who are experienced sometimes have to deal with this, but the more malevolent spirits sometimes play themselves as being a much more innocent creature or human than they actually are. Such most of the time, I should say. It usually is like a young girl or a young child of any sort. Sometimes it is played off as being like a frail old woman or something that usually people relate to not being as threatening, so as to kind of get your trust in a way. I personally think this is probably something that happens. I mean, if all this stuff is for real, because again, I don't know 100% and we still have to prove a lot of things, but if it were, I honestly think that this is a good strategy. I mean, if these demons are real and they are actually portraying themselves as innocent beings, this is a very, very smart practice, and it's kind of something that animals do. Like, you just try to play dead, or you try to make yourself not as appealing, and it just makes the predator or whoever may be hunting you kind of disprove you and kind of underestimate you at the same time. So it would kind of make sense for demons and more powerful beings to kind of shelter themselves, or kind of put up like a wall of mist between us and them, as to make us not believe that they are as powerful as we give them credit for. So to me personally, I think that's a pretty smart thing for them to do. And number 5 and 6, because I'm just gonna ramble on anyways, is tying into psychic mediums and energy as a whole. The whole idea that energy can manipulate film as it's like being developed is something I believe part of it has been disproved throughout the centuries, and as film has gotten like more and more sophisticated and advanced. But I still believe that there are situations and scenarios where spirits are able to manipulate film as it's being processed, or before and after. I think it's a little harder with the before and after situation, but it's always a possibility that this could potentially be real. And as for the psychic mediums, there are again many reports that they will claim that spirits or beings can kind of show themselves as being something else, kind of relating back to 3 and 4, and kind of just showing the medium something that they want to show, not who they are. And there are reports of mediums really just having to really bunker down and dig deep in order to actually get the full description of the creature, and that sort of would make sense. Again, the whole like trying to protect yourself and try to shield yourself from predators. But that's really all the points that I can think up of at the moment. I did do a little bit of research, but again, this was mainly part of the knowledge that I have on the whole topic. I'm sure there are people out there who are pros and experts on actually deciphering why spirits look the way they do, and I'm sure they can give you a lot more detail. But as for now, these are just the opinions that I have and some of the footnotes that I had created, because these are probably, throughout the entire community, these are probably the most plausible explanations and probably the most well-known explainers for why spirits may look a certain age, why they have clothes on, why they're in those locations. And I hope it clears up a few questions that the viewer had that requested this video, and any questions that you guys might have. However, if there's anything that I had left out or any key points that you think I should have mentioned in the video, make sure to write those down in the comments below, and I shall see you guys all soon.